Welcome to another episode of Better Catholics. Today we are privileged to have another special guest. This time, the guest is one of our own. When I say one of our own, he's one of the members of the Clerics Regular Minor, or known also as the Adorno Fathers and Brothers, because we have brothers in the order. But this guest priest that we have, he is he's the superior delegate of, he is the superior of the USA Philippines delegation. So all the priests and brothers within the region of the Philippines and United States, he is our big boss. He's our big boss, and he's stationed in New Jersey, but is pretty much everywhere, because he travels a lot. Nature of his work. Without further ado, I would like to introduce to you our superior, Father Jason Caganap, CRM.
Thank you very much, Father Melvin and Bishop, and thank you for having me at this Better Catholic program.
Thank you, and we are really blessed to have you, Father Jason, come with us. This is your second time to come here in Saipan. And on behalf of the diocese, I'm also very grateful to the Adorno Fathers for saying yes to our request of having your priests serve our diocese. I mean, historically, our diocese have been blessed to have many congregations, religious congregations, come and go. Even before I came here to Saipan, I know that for many years, this particular diocese was also blessed to have the Capuchin friars, the Jesuits, and even the Augustinian Recollects, and somehow the OAR. They came and then stopped for a while, and now we continue to have them. And with the religious sisters, we have the Mercedarian Sisters of Beirut, and also the Pastorelli Sisters. So it's always good, and I always feel blessed that, in spite of our smallness as a diocese, we have co-workers in the vineyard like the Adorno Fathers who have willingly and continue to do their best to help our people. So thank you for coming and visiting Father Melvin and Father Arman.
Yeah, so Father Jason, I think this is a bit late already in the game, but the Adorno Fathers and Brothers here in Saipan, we've been here for over a year, but not too many people know about the Adorno Fathers.
Yes.
So maybe it's ripe to introduce the order of the Clerics Regular Minor, the Adorno Fathers, to the
whole island. Yeah.
The whole island, yes. And maybe you could say something about the Adorno Fathers, the nature of the Adorno Fathers, the vows, maybe.
Sure. Well, of course, let's go back 400 years ago. In 1588, there were three priests who gathered together and found this religious order in 1588. And these are Saint Francis Caracciolo, Venerable Augustine Adorno, and Father Fabrizio Caracciolo. So these men gathered together to found a religious congregation, and the atmosphere during the time was the Reformation. The Reformation 1500s. There was a Reformation by Martin Luther, and of course the church was also renewing herself. The Counter-Reformation, and these priests, young priests, who wanted to renew the church during that time. So more so, they gathered together. There's a beautiful story about how they gathered. With a mistaken letter that was sent, was supposed to be sent to another Caracciolo, but arrived to Francis Caracciolo's hand. And it came from Venerable Augustine Adorno trying to find men, priests, for them to kind of gather together and think about founding a religious order. So that was the story, the mistaken letter that has become a blessing in disguise. And actually it started, that was the time that they started to come together and pray together and really, write, the first constitutions, and that was the start of the order in 1588. And it went a long way throughout the centuries. We had a lot of provinces in Spain and in Italy, but of course after the revolution, the French Revolution, the Spanish, all these things, the order kind of went from thousands to mere, there was a history in the order that there were about 2 or 3 people, 3 priests left in the order. And of course, if we go back to the history, there was this beautiful apparition, a vision to to Venerable Augustine Adorno from the Blessed Mother, that she said that I will take care and protect the order. So there was the time that these 3 priests that were left, in the Adorno Fathers or the Clerics Regular Minor, they thought that, they're just going back to their dioceses. That's what they were being asked to. But they stuck together. They remained in the community, and that was also the restart, the rebirth of the order. And in the 1930s, with a call from the Pope, for the mission ad gentes, one of the priests from Italy went to the United States. So that's basically the mission away from Europe. And it started there. And then in the 1980s, we started the mission in Africa. That's the second oldest mission, basically. And then we went to India and the Philippines.
What year was the Philippines?
Actually, this year we're celebrating the 20th anniversary of the foundation in the Philippines. So there will be a big celebration in July, wherein we will commemorate and remember 20 years ago when our first Adorno, the first foundation of the Adorno Fathers was laid in the Diocese of Daet in the Philippines.
It would be good to get an invite from the Adorno in the Philippines for this.
I'm actually inviting myself.
But the Adorno Fathers basically is a semi-contemplative. We always say that it's a mixed charism, because we can be in the contemplative way and in the active way, of life. And our, the beginning of the order, the work and the apostolate of the priests during the time were in the hospital, in the academe, teaching at the universities. A lot of universities in Spain were staffed by the Clerics Regular Minor in the 1500s, 1600s. And then we went from this apostolate to the parishes and then to the mission. So, it's like they say, whenever we are called to go, whatever apostolate that may be, we are always there. We are always ready to be in that apostolate. Of course, bringing our charism. Main charism of the Adorno Fathers is the contemplation of the Paschal mystery of Christ. It's the whole life, suffering, death, and resurrection of Jesus Christ. And the actualization of this Paschal mystery is basically in the Eucharist.
Right.
That's why, we always say that we are the Eucharist alive in the hearts of the people that we serve. Few years ago, we celebrated the anniversary of the birth of our founder, Saint Francis Caracciolo. We were just talking a while ago that it's more of the bread we share. The bread we give is the bread we share also. The bread we receive is the bread we give and share. So when we contemplate and actualize the Paschal mystery in our lives, then it brings forth the spirituality of the Eucharist. And from that Eucharist, where we serve the people of God, we actually get that beautiful gift of the Eucharist back to us, to enliven us, to strengthen us in our apostolate, wherever that might be. If you have seen the news recently, one of our priests in Africa was killed. That's one of the mission areas that, basically when we go, even though the place is somewhat not safe, but people need the Eucharist. People need people need priests, to celebrate the Eucharist. And this is, I myself experience, being in the mission area in Africa. And I've seen, the religiosity, the piety of the people there. And it's very inspiring that despite all the challenges and hardships they were experiencing, the presence of the priest, the presence of the missionaries really helped them, to continue their lives and at the same time, radiate the beauty and the blessings of God in their lives. So,
We now have a basis on how to assess Father Arman and Father Melvin because your charism is centered in the Eucharist.
Yes.
And it really is a teaching of the church as the Eucharist is the center and summit of our life. And so I believe there is a big advantage for you in ministering to our parishes because you're parish-based and any life in the parish is also centered in the Eucharist. Plus added to that is your charism.
Yes.
And so how I like the way it's being addressed or articulated in your website and how the Eucharist, everything that you do springs from the Eucharist and how it goes forth. Kind of it's where you draw strength and source of perhaps, in everything that you do, blessing and all of that. And then how also that particular action goes back into the center. It's a beautiful, beautiful way of really describing where you are centered. And yes, what a beautiful way to articulate the Paschal Mysteries, Passion, Death, and Resurrection expressed in the Eucharist itself. In terms of numbers, how many of you, Father J, in the whole universe?
Multiverse. I think we're about 150 now.
Including brothers.
Including brothers,
And
yes.
then you mentioned several countries in there. So where is the majority? Where are they? Can you give us a picture of numbers and their specific assignments? Where are they mostly assigned? We have 2 here in the Marianas.
Yes. Well, right now, the most Adornos are in Africa because the breakdown basically of the groups, the delegation, we have 4 delegations in the order, the African delegation, the Italian delegation, the Indo-German, which is India and Germany delegation, and the Philippine and US delegation. So these 4 delegations, right now, the most numbers will be, the majority now is the African delegation, and then followed by the Indian delegation. And I think the recent statistics says that the Filipinos are the 3rd and the Italians now are the minority.
Which was the reverse when you started
400 years ago.
Is there a particular reason why Philippines is under the US and not under Asia, which is India? Is there a reason for that?
Well, India started before the US and Philippine delegation. And since the most of the seminarians came from the Philippines and they studied in the United States, the delegation, before the delegation was created, most of the Filipinos are in the United States. Correct. And we studied there, we were ordained there. And then after that, when it was, so the connection between the US and the Philippines are very, very tight. In the sense that most of the Filipino priests are serving the United States because first, we were studied, we were educated in the United States. We were ordained there, and we were assigned there. So then, when we opened the mission in the Philippines, right now we don't have a parish in the Philippines yet, and we only have the formation houses in the Philippines.
Yeah, I've been to one. I've stayed in Lipa, and you actually have a good number of seminarians. I think you were in Naga at that time.
Yeah, I was in Daet.
A diet,
Yes.
and then in Lipa. So you have seminarians or those information who are taking their theology classes together with the diocesan students, seminarians in the Archdiocese of Lipa. So has that changed then from, in your case and Father Melvin's case, you studied in the US, but now there's a shift.
Yes.
And the opening of seminaries in the Philippines. What is the vision there? Is there a plan to kind of perhaps, this seminarians form and eventually when they become priests, they serve also the parishes, churches, apostolate in the Philippines, or that sense of availability is worldwide, wherever the need is?
Yes. Well, right now with the I would say administration of Father Ted, our Superior General, when he was elected 3 years ago as Superior General, we are more into exchanging students. Right now, in Lipa, which is our theologate, we have 3 we'll have 2 African brothers who are studying for theology, and 3 more are coming. And then in the past, we had the Indian seminarians who would come to the Philippines to do their novitiate, to experience, the novitiate in the Philippines. So then we have also 2 seminarians, theologians, Filipino theologians who are in Nairobi, Kenya, and 2 also in Rome. So we try to kind of mix our seminarians, because it's beautiful that when they become priests, the experience in the past, they know each other. In the past, they only see each other through social media or directory, and then when they get together to Rome for a general chapter, general meeting, they don't know each other. And I myself experienced the beauty of bringing different nationalities in one community, because I studied in Rome for 3 years, and I was with Africans and Indian seminarians. And it's beautiful that when you get back, you come back to Rome, or you go somewhere else, you know these people, and there's always that advantage, with culture, sensitivity, cultural sensitivity, language, and the custom, and it's beautiful because the Adorno Fathers is one. And we try to experience and share what we have through exchanging, or through this kind of student exchange that we do.
Plus, also, it's reflective of the fact that really you're serving the universal church.
Correct.
Wherever there is a need, you go. And talking about the need and you go, I just want to share a bit about how the Adorno Fathers
came about.
And the first, how it started, I was at the office of the Congregation for the Evangelization of Peoples, in Rome, known as Propaganda Fide. And I spoke to one of the staff there, and I said, can you help me connect to anyone who could possibly help us, come to the diocese and help? And so this particular priest recommended Father Ted. And it's all about timing, or God's timing. And then, so I was in Rome at that time. And then communication started. And then it so happened that, Father Ted, and both of you were there too. And we were there after that meetings that we had. We were all there for the canonization of John Henry Newman. So after that event, we had lunch together and just kind of, meet and greet. And Father Melvin was there, but I didn't recall because he was very quiet. And of course, Father J, was that the first time we met?
I think
in person.
In person, yeah.
And then it was later on that you came back here.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you had Father Liam, who would just took over the entire conversation. And Father Ted, who was there. And so after that initial conversation, we then communicated, and Father Ted and Father Jason and Father Liam came before the pandemic.
Yes, 2 weeks before the lockdown.
2 weeks before the lockdown, they came and really come and see, wanted to see if this is possible and all of that. And the rest, it really is. And then I would say it's part of God's plan. And so I'm really grateful that, you've been here for a year now.
Yes.
Father Armand will be here for almost a year. And I'll plug this in. We're expecting for one more. Because in most of the religious congregations, you have at least three as a requirement for them to be a community.
To be a community, yes.
Yeah. And perhaps also, maybe, you can help enlighten the listeners. What's the difference between a religious priest, like Father Melvin, and then the Jesuits, and then the Augustinian Recollects, the Adorno Fathers? What's the difference? Or maybe even, how would you distinguish yourselves from the diocesan priest? And it might be helpful how to do that, because sometimes it says, so who do you really report to the bishop of the diocese or to your immediate superior? Yeah.
Yes. Well, I look at it in two lenses. First is the loyalty to the bishop on the part of the diocesan clergy. So the diocesan clergy has loyalty, direct loyalty to the bishop, and that is his superior, and the priest within the diocese, the diocesan priest within the diocese works for the diocese. He may be transferred to another on loan, for example, another diocese, but still he remains to be under the
Incarnated,
yes, within the authority, the protection of his bishop. Of course, the religious is one who is loyal not only to the bishop that he's serving, but he's also another loyalty, and his loyalty is to the superior of the order. Now we have many superiors.
You can talk about it, and that's why Father Jason is here with us.
Yeah, so we
as your immediate superior.
Yes,
correct?
within the delegation. But I have another superior, which is the superior general. Which is Father Ted.
The universal.
Yes, the universal superior of.
Plus, also in your community of Adorno priests in the Diocese of Canoa, so you have Father Arman, and hopefully there's a third member who would come in. Father Melvin, you're also what's the term, local superior?
For now, it's responsible.
Yes, responsible because we're not a community.
We're not because as we know, the community here needs to be erected as a religious house.
Right. Okay,
and a religious house has a superior.
Yes.
So when we apply, for the erection of the Canoa community as a religious house of the Adorno Fathers, then we will appoint a superior. So basically, right now he's the responsible, and he is, his direct. Well, I would say the direct connection would be the delegation superior, which is me.
Right.
So that's how we. For now, he's the responsible for this mission.
Okay. And Father Jason, you are responsible for Canoa, the parishes in the U.S. And the Philippines.
The Philippines, yes. All the priests under the delegation of the U.S. Philippines is actually my responsibility.
That's why I can see you smiling all the time. It must be the source of joy, for you to visit your brothers in this communities.
Yes. He doesn't want to leave.
I know. I wish I can stay longer.
Yes, I'm open. We're open. So I'll have a separate conversation with Father Melvin. Yeah, good. Let's talk about the vows. Every religious congregation has specific vows.
And actually, that is the second lens that I was going to.
Oh, sorry.
So the first is the loyalty.
Okay.
The bishop.
The obedience.
Yes.
The diocesan bishop.
I stand corrected. Go ahead.
It's okay. Actually, we are leading to that.
I'm on the right track then.
Yes.
Okay.
So the second lens is the vows. The diocesan clergy, they have
promise of obedience,
promise of obedience to the bishop. But for us, it is a vow. Really, it is a vow: poverty, chastity, obedience. At least the three evangelical councils, the minimum. And we have a fourth vow, canonical vow, which is the vow of not seeking ecclesiastical dignities.
The vow of humility.
Yes.
But I can call you Monsignor.
No, no, Bishop. We cannot be Monsignors.
However,
can you explain to us, for our listeners?
By virtue of obedience, if we are, for example, asked to become a bishop, we have to decline. We have to decline. And if there is really a need, and the authorities,
and the Holy Father says,
insists,
out of obedience to the Holy Father, you will become a bishop. Then, we become a bishop.
Is it like also the case of Pope Francis? Because I think similarly the Jesuits also have that. But then when he was elected a Pope, then there's that part also of obedience.
Obedience, yes.
Yeah.
These are all overlapping vows anyway.
Where do you see the congregation is headed? What is your vision of the Adorno Fathers, Father Jason, as one of the superiors, in terms of vocation perhaps? How many seminarians you have? Are there new possibilities for, doing apostolate somewhere? Where is the greater need?
Well, right now, after we just had a couple of weeks ago, a month ago, we had this midterm general chapter, meaning, we come together and can evaluate what happened in the past 3 years. And most of the things that we spoke about was basically on formation, on vocation. because we have seen the decline even to the Adorno Fathers of the vocation for the past few years. A lot of reasons why it happened, pandemic, the way the millennials, the way things are going on. And we kind of look at it, in a deeper way, way to really what can we do now, and those are the things. And then the other part was the expansion of the Adorno Fathers, because right now, the Lord has blessed the Adorno Fathers of vocations in a sense that we still have seminarians in the seminary. We still have novices. We still have ordinations yearly. And it's a blessing for the Adorno Fathers. And with these new ordinations, where can we send them? So a lot of possibilities. We have spoken to some bishops around the world, that are actually inviting us to come and see, like what we did here in.
You can expand, but please don't take the Adorno Fathers from here.
We expand, Bishop. we don't. We try to avoid pulling out our praise.
Thank you.
But we want to be more, I would say, add more,
yes,
and to really help the diocese. And this is our hope and prayer, as an order to really expand and be a missionary of the world, because we're gearing towards the missionary effort of the Adorno Fathers. And that's why we always say, Father Ted would always say that the heart of our mission is in Africa. Because we were there, the first mission, actually the big mission was in Africa, and it's still, they're creating a lot of vocations in Africa for the past 20 years, and that's why they're the majority now, and it's good that we have also African priests coming to the United States to help us out in the apostolate, and we have Indian priests also who are working in the delegation.
Very good. And how do you foresee the assignment to Chalan Canoa? Is it, how does that go? Is it like, or in any assignment in particular, it goes, I know we have an agreement, but also like, and I believe your visit here is part of that continuing process, like the continuing discernment, because you also have to think of, what is, for the good of the people, but for the congregation,
for the good,
and also for the Adorno priests assigned here, whether they are adhering also to the way of life that is expected from the congregation.
From the congregation, yes.
And so far, have they passed? Are they okay?
Yes. I've spoken to the core group, and they're the ones who can actually tell me what's going on. And yes, flying colors.
All right. Okay.
And
but you've only spoken to one group.
To one group. Tonight will be the other one. So
all right, we'll see.
Yes. But so it's a beautiful ministry here in Saipan. I'm actually enjoying it here.
Can you say that can you be more convincing? What did you say?
I just talk like this, but I'm actually very convinced. I always say that this is a paradise. I mean, I'm looking at the external, of course, but also the people. It's really different, and I'm sure you have seen.
I've seen
You've
that.
seen how the
I've
people
experienced that.
respond to the priest, and I personally experienced how the parishioners of San Hude respond to my direction
projects,
projects and activities in the church. I that's why I'm enjoying it here. It's a lot of work, but it's good, and I'm active.
I think the people of the parish that I was in San Antonio and St. Jude, they're very open. Open to the projects, to new activities and everything, and they've seen the fruit of, I think, Father Melvin and Father Armand started, especially on the adoration, the daily adoration, which is kind of our trademark. In the States, most of our parishes have perpetual Eucharistic adoration chapel, and that's kind of it's like a trademark of the Adorno that we bring the Eucharist to the people. And of course, with Saint Jude, I was speaking to them, the core group, last night, and at the beginning, there's a little kind of challenge for them, daily, they said they want it like every other day or something, and then little by little, it became a daily adoration, and they're so happy about it.
Yes.
And they have seen that all the things all the good things that are happening in the parish is because of the adoration.
Yes.
The daily
Yes,
adoration.
yeah.
So, I'm really, really happy to hear that from them. And it's, basically that's our thing as an Adorno.
Yes. And also one of the challenges we have in terms of priest assignment is the sense of continuity, because as you see, we really don't have enough incardinated clergy. When you say incardinated, ones who were ordained for here. And so that's why we always need the help of religious priests like the Adorno Fathers. And so, most of our parishes, like, the priests assigned there like only 2 years, 3 years. So I'm really hoping and praying that there's gonna be, like, in terms of the length of time.
The length of time.
I mean, I think this conversation is doing dual purpose to let the people understand and also to make it loud out there that my hope and prayer that this relationship will continue. Not for anything, but really for the good of the people. And hopefully it's also for the good of the priests assigned themselves. We also want for them to have that sense of growth.
Yes.
And they won't feel stagnant or not challenged and all of that. Yeah.
Well, I'm hoping to sustain whatever,
How
we
many
have
years do
here.
you foresee being here in Saipan, Father Melvin?
Ad perpetuum.
Well, usually we try to keep our administrators and pastors at least 2 terms.
Okay.
6 years.
Yeah.
And of course, the extension would depend on, it's a case-to-case basis on how it's needed. Because in our constitution, 9 years, maximum 9 years, then you have to to give your resignation as a pastor. So canonically and in our constitution, that's what we follow. But we try our best to keep them at least, the minimum is 2 terms, which is 6 years.
Okay.
And I think 6 years is pretty viable to to start your programs and continues, and then whoever is going to be the next pastor or administrator would actually just go through whatever that was left in the parish.
Very good. Very good.
Yeah, it's always for the people, and the Adorno Fathers will stay.
Stay,
And
yes.
it's,
For now, we will stay.
going to stay.
Thank
We're not
you.
go- we're
There will
not
be
going
more.
Thank you.
We're not going anywhere. We are hoping to add more
More. Yes,
personnel
that's
here
what we are.
in the diocese. And to those that are listening to us right now, watching our podcast, we promise it, and this is a solemn promise to all of you, that as missionaries, we will do our best to be responsible for our own spiritual life as religious, but that spiritual life should be shared also to the people, and to inspire people to be Eucharistic. Or the Eucharist is very organic and in nature; it's alive, and we have to make sure that the Eucharistic vibe will be transparent through us and shared as well to other people, so that we can inspire people to become better Catholics.
Amen.
Amen to that.